أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن مولانا أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله أشهد أن مولانا ومبتدانا وهادينا بالحق مولانا أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله صلاة الله السلام عليه. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وأعز المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بقية الله روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد. Dear mu'mineen and mu'minat, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jum'ah Mubarakah upon everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this a blessed day for all of us, a day of reflection, a day of purification and return to Him, inshaAllah. Continuing on a hadith or a narration that I shared few weeks ago, and we went through each part of it week after week. The narration in brief for those who were not with us is that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. He came and said, Ya Rasulullah, will you allow me to wish for death? Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to him, death is a long journey, and one has to prepare for it and get 10 gifts for 10 stations of that journey. So he says to him, the first step, he names the 10, and as we go, I will go through them, inshaAllah. So he says the first one is the station of meeting the angel of death. He says for that, you need to make sure you have reconciled your issues with anyone who you have conflicts with in dunya, in this world. Rida'ul khusama. The second is that you have to make sure you have fulfilled your obligations that you have missed, whether it be salat or siyam or hajj or khums and zakat that you may owe, whatever it is that you have as obligations, you have to fulfill them and make them up if you miss them. The third one, he says, to be eager to meet your Lord. And the last one for that station, he says, and to wish death, to have prepared for that moment. And that would make the station of the angel of death and the departure an easy station. He says the second one, which is the grave, for it you have to stay away from gossiping and passing from one person to another in order to basically divide between people. Rather, you have to bring people together. And purification from ritually impure, like the urine and so on. He says recitation of the Quran is what makes the station of the qabr or the grave easy. And last but not least, he says Salatul-Layl, night prayers or tahajjud, which is the salat after the middle of the night, the tahajjud of the night. He says the next one is the station of the angels that question us in our grave, Munkar and Nakir. He says for that you have to be truth-telling, and you have to stay away from ghibah, from backbiting, and you have to tell the truth when it comes to witnessing. And the last one, he says, to be humble for everyone. That would make it easy in terms of the questioning. Next one, he says, Al-Mizan, the scale where the good deeds are put against the bad deeds and weighed. In there, your gift or what you have to prepare for that station is that you have to be amongst those who is suppressing of his anger or her anger. Times of anger, kadhmul ghayz. Do not react to your anger. The next one, he says, وَوَرَعٌ صَادِقٌ, sincere abstaining from the sins. That one abstain from sins, whether it's in front of people or in his privacy, in his own private life without anyone seeing them. They abstain from sins. Abstaining from sins in front of people is perhaps, in a sense, it could be shirk if one does it in front of people, but in his private life he commits sins, wal-'ayadu billah. Then he says, walking towards jama'at. Then when there are congregational prayers, Jum'ah or Jama'ah, to walk towards it makes the station of Mizan, the scale on the Day of Judgment, easy. and to invite one another towards gatherings of forgiveness when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives those who come to congregations or come to gatherings of maw'idah, seeking the advice from the words of Ahlul-bayt, the Prophet and his progeny. Salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Last week we got up to the Sirat, passing over the bridge, and in there we said the 4 things that one has to prepare as the gifts for that station is: 1, to make sure his deeds are sincerely and purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not ascribing partners in his deeds, and to have good akhlaq, husnul khuluq, good ethics and morals, good behavior, wa kathratu dhikrillah, to be remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frequently. And the last, he says, and be patient despite difficulties, ihtimalul adha, whether it be through circumstances or even through people. If people are harsh with you, to be patient with them. If neighbors are harsh or unkind, to be patient with them. That is also amongst the qualities of those who would have an easy station on the Sirat. The next one which I want to discuss today is the station of Malik. Malik is Khazanun Niran, the angel responsible for the hellfire. For one to pass over the Sirat and have basically a green light from Malik, if you want to put it in this way. Malik is the one responsible for the Niran. One who's passing over the Sirat is passing through the Niran. And this is the translation or the interpretation of the ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that إِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا, everyone would go through the hellfire. In what sense? In the Sirat that we pass over, because it goes through the hellfire and one has to, that's why it is important to make sure one does it, prepares for that station so that they can pass easy and quickly without having to face any of the scorching heat of hellfire, wal-'ayadu billah. And Malik is there and he is responsible there, preparing for him. What are the things that we can prepare for that station? Let us see what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam shared with this man and an advice for all of us, inshaAllah. He says the first is al-buka min khashyatillah, to shed tears in fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the qualities that we are told, Ahlul-bayt, they say, laysa minna. One who does not do this is not from us. What is this quality? They say it is to do muhasaba. Man lam yuhasib nafsahu. Whoever does not do his own accountability, his own reckoning, his own judgment, be his own judge on a daily basis. Fi kulli yawmi wa layla. The hadith from Ahlul-bayt salawatullah wa salamu alayhim says, he is not from us whoever does not do this thing. What is it? To judge their own selves, to do their own reckoning, to sit and do their own accounting. How well did I do today? Or how, God forbid, bad did I do today? Did I get closer? Whoever does that would realize, and this is the problem that many of us miss. We miss doing this self-accountability and self-judgment, self-assessment on a daily basis, and therefore we do not realize how far we go. Often we get arrogant, we think we're good. We think we're, I've prayed my salat, I did my obligatory prayers, I perhaps paid some charity, and I think I'm good. There's nothing wrong about me. I'm perfect, basically. Some people think, and sometimes we may think in this way. But if we sit and think and reflect on what we missed in terms of the good deeds, what we did in terms of perhaps, mistreating someone here and there, or saying something, whatever it may be, when we do that self-accountability, then one would realize how much they have failed to do what they could have done, or what they could have done it better. And that is when those who are conscious of that journey of the Sirat and passing through hellfire, in fact, and passing through it with the guardian of hellfire, Malik, being there, they would then shed tears. This is why in Salatul-Layl, Salat Tahajjud, in fact, the sign of acceptance of ghufran, acceptance of dua and the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are told, is what? Is the tears. That is the sign. If you have those tears in fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the middle of the night or before sahar, one gets up and goes to sujood or sits down and recites dua, for example, dua al-hazeen, a beautiful dua which is recommended after Salatul Layl, saying, Ya qabil as-saharat iqbalni, O the one who accepted the magicians, accept me, accept my return to you, realizing what we have done. That is when, if one has those tears, perhaps they will be accepted. Perhaps that is the sign of acceptance of that dua. Those who shed tears in fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have an easy station with Malik Khazinun Niran. He says the first one is al-buka' min khashyatillah. The second one, he says, وَصَدَقَةُ السِّرِّ. In Tubdu Sadaqat, in Surah Al-Baqarah we recite, if you show the sadaqat, then it is good for you. And if you hide it, if you do the secret sadaqah without anyone knowing, that is better for you, for sure. That sadaqatul sir is one of the acts that makes that station of Malik easier for us. Paying that sadaqat, especially sadaqatul sir. In fact, it shows that one is sincerely doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no partner here. Giving from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is detachment from dunya, which is a great act put with salat in almost everywhere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Holy Quran, Aqimu salat, He tells us, wa atu zakat. Purify your wealth, give the charity, give those alms. Giving it is a great act, but give it in secret ensures that it is sincere, it is genuine, it is purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what makes the station of Malik easier. Sadaqatul sir. Which one should I give in the add and open? Which one should I keep secret? According to the narrations, anything that is wajib in terms of zakat, give it openly. Whether it's khums and zakat, give it openly so that you encourage others to give. When it comes to anything recommended, mustahab, giving charities and so on, do it secretly. That is the best way of combining the two. Tubdu sadaqat wa in tukhfuha. Then the next one he says, after sadaqatul sir, he says, وَتَرْكُ الْمَعَاصِي. Abstaining from sins also makes the station of Malik easier, because Malik, Khazinun Niran, and the Niran itself, the fire itself, it is seeking those who commit sins. It is seeking them. It is calling them from a distance, in fact. We have ayat in the Holy Quran describing how it calls them from a distance. It wants them, because those things reflect itself. It is basically a reunion of fire with those acts. Sins are nothing but fire, and therefore there's a reunion there, almost like Mercury coming together. A reunion of fire with fire. What is fire of dunya? It is ma'asi. Therefore, one who abstains from them has an easier station with Malik. And the last one here is birrul walidain. To be dutiful to one's parents is one that makes the station of Malik an easier station. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our journey of death and after death an easy journey. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr inna al-insana lafi khusr إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وأعز المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد المصطفى وعلى علي المرتضى وفاطمة الزهراء وخديجة الكبرى والحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي التقي وعلي بن محمد النقي والحسن بن علي العسكري والحجة القائم المهدي الإمام المنتظر صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. اللهم وال من والاهم وعاد من عاداهم وانصر من نصرهم واخذل من خذلهم والعن من ظلمهم وعجل فرج آل محمد. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك على كل شيء قدير. عباد الله اتقوا الله وتزودوا فإن خير الزاد التقوى واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. Dear Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, brothers and sisters, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jum'ah Mubarakah upon everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us be amongst those who seek His forgiveness on this day and get more and more of the provision of taqwa. أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله فإنها زاد المبلغ. It is taqwa what we need to reach our destination, the final abode, perhaps the heaven or His paradise, Ridwan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is one condition, however, there is an obstacle and one cannot pass it. And that is what we read in Surah Al-Balad, which I recited those ayat in my first sermon, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He will not pass over the obstacle, over the hill, over the elevation. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ. Then He says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. How would you know what is this aqaba? Aqaba is more like an obstacle, a hill that is difficult, a difficult station to pass over. How would you know what is this aqaba? Then the answer is فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ. It is freeing a slave. One of the acts that was available to the believers in the early days was freeing a slave. Nowadays it is not so much available. However, giving and being charitable and freeing one from his debts perhaps could apply. Often you have people who are enslaved to those who they owe money to. And perhaps you freeing them from those debts, either through قرض الحسنة, من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا, giving them an interest-free loan, an easy loan that they can get out of that enslavement to the lender, whoever is lending them, or even giving them, being charitable and giving them, freeing them from that completely. In fact, that is and something that we could do today to fulfill that part of being generous and giving. The other one is أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة, to give and feed in a day of hunger. One of the applications of that is for one to be hungry yet feeding others. يوم ذي مسغبة, a day that people are facing difficulty and hunger, to give and feed on that day is what we require to pass the aqaba. Now I ask you, how many people actually are hungry in our community, in our local community at least? How many people face difficulty? But we actually know of people not far from us in this global village that we're living in. We know of people who are hungry and who face difficulty. The sad thing is, those who live amongst them, there are people who live amongst the hungry, and despite the hunger, they share what they have, and they all face the hunger together. In fact, I may have shared this. It was an article by somebody who says, where would you rather be in a natural disaster? When a disaster happens, where would you rather be? In a developed country or in third world countries? And she concludes, the author concludes, that I would rather be in a third world country, in those impoverished areas. Why? Because she says people come together better than what they do in these areas, in the more developed areas, or where people are more comfortable financially. It is sad that those people, despite being hungry, they feed. And we are not willing to feed much or give much despite not ever sleeping hungry. I don't know of anyone in our community, at least, maybe I'm mistaken, maybe you can correct me, who sleeps hungry, who cannot open his pantry or his fridge and get colors and types of food. And there are people in this global village that don't have anything, not in their closets, not in their pantries, not in their fridge, nothing. They don't know what to take home to feed their children. They don't have anything to offer them. From people in Yemen are facing it, people in Syria, or refugees from Yemen and from Syria and from other parts of the world are facing it, are facing this difficulty. What are we doing about it? أو إطعام في يوم, especially the orphans, يتيما ذا مسغبة, يتيما ذا متربة أو يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة. Either the orphans that have relationships perhaps with you or in general, or a miskin or a poor one who is in fact living dusty. Matraba is from turab, dusty, because of not having even to change and clean themselves. And you see those videos and pictures, we see it. What are we doing about it? When did we go shopping and say to ourselves, you know what, I'm going to cut my shopping in half, and whatever I save, I'm going to put it aside and give it to those people. I'm going to split my bank account in half. I want you to think about this. And whatever I have, half of it goes towards these people. How many people actually do this? My brothers and sisters, this is the aqabah that we need to pass over. This is the obstacle. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةِ, this is aqabah. If you want to know how to pass, this is how it works. When one puts some difficulty on himself, when one puts himself in some sort of discomfort, comes out of that comfort zone and gets into some sort of discomfort through that giving. And that is أَوْ إِطْعَامٌ فِي يَوْمٍ ذِي مَسْغَبَةٍ, in a difficult day to give and to share and to feed. That is when it counts, and that is the passing over the obstacle. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us pass over the obstacle in this dunya and reflect it in our hereafter. We ask Him to make us amongst those who listen to what's said and follow what's best. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. اللهم صل على محمد